Hi everyone, last reading of the day. We've nearly made it. It's been an absolute marathon. My brain is fried. So I'm going to read from the last reading of the day is going to be from a story in the book called The Graveyard Shift. This is actually an award-winning story. It's also based on a true story. So The Graveyard Shift was awarded third place in 2011 in the Warren Spooky But True competition. It's going back a few years now. So it was awarded a third place in the Warren Books Spooky But True competition. So it is based on a true story. It is based on a doctor's experience working in an old war hospital, which is still operational today, but was operational back in the Second World War as well. So it's quite a creepy story. Certainly made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up when I first was told it. So I hope that you enjoy and sweet dreams for tonight. Okay, The Graveyard Shift. As a medical student, Cole spent his nights collecting blood samples and delivering them to pathology for further testing. He regularly capped off his rounds with a cup of coffee in a cafeteria nestled in the bowels of the hospital. Over the years, the new building had grown and thrived above, burying its wartime origins beneath it. Some staff still braved the freezing winter mornings for the smokers area outside the cafeteria. Cole stirred milk into his coffee, turning to the table behind him. Cole jumped at the sight, hot liquid sloshing over the edge of his mug and narrowly missing his shirt. Near the entrance to the old ward, a silver-haired elderly woman stood wrapped in a faded pink dressing gown. Cole hastily placed the mug down on the table and ripped a handful of napkins from the dispenser. He briefly looked up at the woman. "Are you all right?" he called to her. "Yes," she murmured. "Wait right there." Mopping up the mess on the table, out of the corner of his eye, Cole watched as the slight figure shuffled out of sight into the ward. "Hey, wait!" he muttered to himself as he swiftly disposed of the napkins. If he were lucky, he was only 30 seconds behind her. 20 years of medical detritus was crammed into the old ward. Cole manoeuvred an old wheelchair and an IV trolley out of the way and eased himself between the steel-framed hospital beds and nightstands cluttered with jugs and bedpans. Inside a set of glass cabinets, tin canisters were stuffed full with long, slender surgical scissors and a collection of thick stainless steel syringes. Among them were brown glass bottles of sterilizers with faded labels. A rusty old cart held all manner of twisted metal tools. Cole continued along, scanning the dimly lit ward for nooks and crannies, any space big enough to swallow a little old lady. Cole glanced at his watch. He had been searching for half an hour, but he couldn't be sure he hadn't missed her somewhere. He started to make his way back through the maze of equipment. "I'm coming back," he called. "I'll bring someone to help." Returning to the cafeteria and a cold cup of coffee, Cole called the security to aid in his search. More eyes were better than his alone, he thought. The team of guards arrived and began pulling the ward apart, while Phil, the head of security, clicked his tongue and shook his head. "I can't think of anything I would rather be doing than chasing after little old ladies down here." "Well, what would you have me do? Leave her here?" Cole probed. "She could be a dementia patient that has wandered out of her ward." Phil rolled his eyes. An exacerbated guard approached the two men. "We can't find anything," he reported. His arms tightly folded, Phil raised an eyebrow to Cole. "Come on, boys," he barked. "Let's get out of here." So sweet dreams with that nice spooky little story called excerpt from The Graveyard Shift. So that's my final reading of short stories from the book for today. I've got one more to do tomorrow morning. along with my final guest author, Jan Muir. And what else have I got planned for the morning? Also, the publishing process. I'm going to have a little bit of a chat about the publishing process if I haven't already. If I don't get around to posting it this afternoon, the publishing process, I'm going to post it tomorrow morning. But I do have my final guest author tomorrow morning and my final reading, which is from the final short story in the book called A Kind Gesture, which is also based on a chilling true story. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me today for my final reading, and I will see you in the morning bright and early. My first post is going to be early in the morning, because I'm actually going to a writing seminar tomorrow as well. So bright and early in the morning, I will see you here for the final stretch of the launch. Bye!